This Farm to Fork segment is sponsored by NetFM.
Well, technology in farming is growing by leaps and bounds, and Ceres Imaging is at the forefront of that. I'm here with Brett Blom, the sales manager. And Brett, tell me a little bit about what you guys do to try to help farmers make the most out of every acre.
Sure. So we're measuring water and nutrient content at the plant level. So essentially we fly over crops anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 feet. We take a bunch of images. We come back the next day with some data that says, hey, you might have a water issue here. You might have a pest issue here. You might have a soil issue here. This is what you should do about it.
Okay, now get into a little more to the technology. So you flying over, you've got the camera on the top of this, and here's some pretty pictures with colors on them. What does this do for the farmer now? So they start looking in detail at specific parts of their field. How do they use that data?
Exactly. So we can, by certain patterns that we see and certain patterns in the process, we can tell you, hey, this area on the northwest corner of your field, for instance, this is probably an irrigation issue. We see a linear pattern. Maybe you have a valve that's not opening up. Maybe you have some emitters clogged. Easy fixes, right? Also on the pest side, if we see sort of a blob issue, doesn't look like it's irrigation related, that says, hey, probably not an irrigation thing, but you should go check it out regardless.
Perfect. Now, is it one picture, so you take that and try to analyze it? Can that data then be manipulated so you can look at multiple facets of what's happening in the field?
Absolutely. So there's several layers. There's we take thermal, raw thermal, and NDVI, so you can kind of tell the whole story. Also, what most farmers do is they layer these on top of a season. So maybe it's between 6 to 8 images. If you find something, you make a change, you track the progress, the next image will show you if it's actually helping or not.
Now, you just mentioned the season, so I imagine this is really valuable to a farmer that now after 3 or 4 years of this data, they go back in and start finding patterns of what part of a season things happen.
Absolutely, yeah. They say, hey, early on in the season we need to check for this. Later on in the season, maybe we can wean off on the water here, and here. But exactly, and now we're seeing growers for the last 3 years are like, they can't live without it, right? Sure. You get an image and it's like you can't function, you can't make decisions unless you have that in front of you.
Well, they say that a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I think it's worth a lot more than that at Ceres Imaging. For Farm to Fork, I'm Rich Krebs.